Welcome to another episode of Being Surreal. And in this episode, I have a special guest with me. Um, his name is Bajrang Kumar. He's doing CA. Hi, Bajrang.
Hello, Suriyari. Should I call it Surreal or Suriyari?
It's fine. Call me whatever you want. Like, people are really
Hmm.
confused about
I,
my
I,
name.
I will call you Abba.
Yeah,
Is that
that
fair
works
enough?
fine too. That works fine. So,
Yeah.
in this episode, we are going to talk about finances, stocks, and cryptocurrency. So,
Mm-hmm.
first, I want to talk about in schools, we aren't really taught about taxes, how are taxes done. Like even commerce student who study commerce are somewhat illiterate about finances. So, what's your opinion about that? Like, I am a science student, so I'm not really sure about that commerce thing though. But from what I have heard from my friends,
No, I did my commerce from, I mean, in school in 2010. So around at that time, there wasn't anything about income taxes. And in terms of accountancy, there is, but not what in the real world happens. So if you talk about how the bank account operates, how many types of FDs are there, and how you should manage your money in terms of your goals. So that is not there in our syllabus, and that is not the priority also, because we are not taught how to invest, how to save money, but we are told just how to earn money. Like the main aim of a person is to get a job.
hmm,
I'm talking about the average person who is not from a business family and who does not is not very well aware of it. If we talk about the majority of population, they consist of these kind of people only. I mean, if I'm talking from my experience. Okay, so this is what I tell, that you should first know the basic things like how to get a bank account open, how much the bank is giving you as a rate of interest, how how much do you pay for the loan, what is the interest rate. So if you say currently SBI offers around 3.5% of interest per annum for the whole year, and our inflation is around 4 to 5%. So if we see, we are losing about 50 basis points or 100 basis points every year. So if you keep your money in the bank, you are losing your money. So this is a thing which is happening right now. So
yeah,
you should be aware, like you should plan for it, like you should learn about it, because it's not that if you don't learn, people are not doing it, people are doing it, you are missing out on it, like who don't know. So that's it.
yeah, I think I saw a video about this, like keeping your money in bank is like making you lose money. Instead, you should invest it.
Yeah, in terms of emergency situation, you need to have liquid funds, like when there is an emergency arises, like whatever unforeseen circumstances arises, you should have some liquid funds around, whatever you feel like is a comfortable amount to deal with that thing. Apart from that, you should like diversify your funds. You should put it into real estate, and stocks are one of the assets. And apart from that, there's a lot of things like you should have fixed income, you have your stocks, you have your real estate. These are basically three kinds of things, and there is also alternate investments, painting, and these kind of things which are like unexplored by many people. So this is there.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but like liquid money is basically the amount of money you can like use anytime, like the money in your bank account or the cash
Liquid
you
means
have.
you don't waste any time to spend it. Like if it is readily available, gold is also liquid, but you will take little time to convert it, and you will not get the exact value which you are valuing at. You definitely, whatever the price is, when you go to sell it out, the buyer will not offer that price. He will charge something. So liquid money is like which is readily available, which is like call money. You just ask for it and it's there. So basically, bank account, cash in hand. This is what it is.
Okay, so like I see a lot of these questions on the internet, like if you get $1 million, what would you do with it? So, what should be the best strategy for it? Like, should you invest all of it in some stocks or whatever, or like buy cars or something of that sort?
Uh, I wonder how will you get $1 million. So that is the
Yeah,
main thing,
that's
because
the main question there. But
answers are already there. How to, like, money managers are there. People who just don't know how to do it. If there is mutual fund, there is ETF, there is stocks, there is a lot of investment vehicles via which you can diversify your fund. So yeah, $1 million is there. So first you need to see where do you want to go with it. Like if you are in your late 20s, you will be little bit like less risk. I mean, you will not like to take more risk. And if you are in early 20s, 21, 22, you can take more risk, right? So if you see the Bitcoin scenario right now, people want to get into it, but they are just scared that their money will evaporate with one tweet or whatever you call it, one announcement. This like Indian government has not allowed cryptocurrency till now, so Indians are missing a lot of opportunities legally. People are putting their money, but that is not very well. Like if the government wants, they can pull the plug anytime. So yeah.
okay, like I will come to that later about government banning cryptocurrencies. The question is in my list, but I'll come to that later. Like first, like let's talk about how like tax bracket works. Like we don't have a uniform tax, and it's divided in brackets according to what you earn.
So what happens currently in India is like till 2,50,000, you don't have to pay any taxes in both the regimes, like the old and the new. And after that, you get to pay taxes. Like in the new regime, you pay 5% of tax over and above from 2,50,000 to 5 lakh. And it is same in the old also. But where the changes happen is on the next layer, 5 lakhs to 7.5 lakhs and going to 10 lakhs. And after 2,50,000 of what do you call it, band is there. Okay, with the 15 lakhs, this band goes on. So in the new regime, they have reduced the tax rate as compared to the old one. Like previously, used to charge 20% of taxes from 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs, but in the new tax regime, they charge only 10%, and so on and so forth. Because what happens is in the old tax regime, there were benefits for deductions. Like there were, when you put money in house loan, there was a deduction for principal. Like 80C is available. 80C is a very big deduction which offers a list of options where people put their money and expenditures, and they will get a deduction from their income. For example, they pay off their house. There is a house loan for let's say 25 lakhs. So in first year they have paid around 1 lakh of principal. So what happens is you will get a deduction for 1 lakh from your income from 80C. But in the new regime, most of the deductions have been withdrawn. What this does is they give you a 10% tax bracket from 5 lakhs to 7.5 lakhs, but they are taking away the deduction from you. Okay, so there is PPF also in HCC, there is insurance also, there is 5 year FD also, there is a lot of things, like there is a list of 20 to 25 things which is
RD.
there. Yes, not RD. There is like Kisan, there is something Kisan certificate, something, there is a certificate from related to Kisan, I think, and there are a lot of items like income tax, sorry, insurance, and CPF and EPF. So these kind of things are there. You get a deduction out of it. Till 1,50,000, you get a deduction. But what happens in this new tax regime? You get to pay a less tax rate, but you are not given that deduction. So what happens is your income automatically increases, and what will, I mean, everyone has to see what is their beneficial situation. But the thing is about the new regime, in my opinion, is people are not getting incentivized for saving. For example, if you do not put your money in provident fund, what will happen is like you are missing out on a very good investment instrument which is there for the people, and people can double their money in 5 to 7 years, not 7 years, around 7 to 8 years, people can double their money. But that thing is taken away from people, the incentive to put the money in PPF. Okay, so that thing happens with the new regime. It depends on the people how they want to plan their taxes, and they should calculate their taxes as from the old regime and new regime, and see what is beneficial for them. But from the perspective of a person who is not incentivized for saving, the old regime seems to be better.
So like
So
if
what
on
happens
paper the 10%
on
tax
paper, this
looks less,
yeah looks yes,
but in
yes, correct.
actual it is more.
It is objective, but the fact is people are not getting incentivized for saving. Like people, the incentive is taken away from them. Like they are, since India is not a very financial literate country, so what the layman will think, like, let me pay 10% of tax, I will not pay 20% of tax. What will happen is he will stop putting his money in PPF. People are very what do you call? They don't want to put their money in future savings. They want to
Hmm.
consume it. Like in the lower income group, they don't want to put their money into savings scheme. What this new scheme will do is, those this is the target of those people that who wants to pay less tax in absolute term, but they will lose on the savings which would they have had on the PPF and the other instruments which will have helped them in the future. So the incentive is not there to save. Okay.
So like since the tax is so much in a country, what is your opinion on should rich pay more taxes?
Yeah, this is not the question in India, because if you see a person earning more than 50 lakhs pays around 33% of taxes. Okay.
33 is a lot.
Like, yeah, 33%. And if he goes above 1 crore and more, there is more surcharges there. Like there is tax on tax. There will be a top up rate. So in India, that's not a question, because India is a very heavily taxed country. And if you will see people move out to Singapore or Dubai, they coming to India for like 180 days, and they live here only, but they will just manage those days. Like there is a provision where there used to be a provision where if the person lives in India for 180 days, then he will become a resident. So people used to live less than once, they will live 179 days in India, and they will leave to Dubai or Singapore. It is less tax country, but the government has plugged that loophole also, and they have made a specific provision, like very stringent provision, so that these people who are evading taxes by moving to Dubai and something like that, they used to live 6 months in Dubai and they used to live in India after that. They have plugged that loophole, and that has been reduced to 120 days or less. Okay, so India is very very stringent on taxes in terms of rate, in terms of compliance. Whatever you say, it is very tough. It is not a very easygoing tax economy.
So what are some ways like rich avoid paying taxes? Like I know what like some people do. Like let's take big CEOs for example. What they do
Mm.
is they rent a house and then say that the company is paying the rent. So like
Mm.
if I'm not wrong, like uh, a, like when a company pays tax, it pays tax from the profit, not from the income, but it got profit. So when the
Correct.
company
Correct.
pays a rent, the profit decreases, and the the guy has not to pay the rent on his own. The company pays it, so he has to give less tax on his personal too and from the company too.
If you see, this looks very this looks easy to see that the company is paying off the taxes, but that thing gets added to his perquisites in his salary. The CEO or whoever the person getting he's getting something from the company, like they are paying the rent for it, but that rent will get added to his salary. Okay, that will look like a perquisite. It, for example, people are given HRA for it, so whatever the slabs become over and above it, it will be added to the salary of that person. So there is one more thing. There are ways to avoid it. They will not like show that that house is given to that person. They will book a hotel. They will like that will be a short term thing. It won't be a very explicit agreement. There are a lot of ways. There are a lot of CAs planning stuff for people, and there is this one is one of the common things. But basically, people make trust. Like there is family trust are made, and the trust owns the asset. Okay, so it in terms of like what people need. People need a car. People need a big home to live. So these all things are held by a trust, family trust. So there is a different way to plan for it. So there are ways to avoid it. There is way like what do you see? But the Indian government has done a lot of things to plug these loopholes. uh, Previously what used to be done was like charitable trusts used to own big cars, like, and they were the trustees used to travel from that thing happened. But the fact is now they are become more stringent towards the charitable trust, and they keep a check on how the things how the like uh, there is lot of less incentive for to avoid taxes. There is, but there are loopholes which always will be there to exploit, and people will exploit.
So is it legal to do that?
It is legal. Loopholes are in law. Loopholes are you can say it is made sure it is there so that people can for like what do you say? Lobbying happens. Lot of things happen. So until and unless there is a very what do you call big tax evasion, the loopholes are not plugged in. Like the government does not see as a threat to it. For example, what happened with the Vodafone case, like people of India or what we call Indian government lost lot of money. This was in 2010-11. This case was there, Vodafone versus government of India, and surprisingly, Vodafone won in Supreme Court because the law was there, and their legal team was so well prepared and their deal was so well structured, so they won it. But what government of India did, they made a retrospective amendment. Retrospective amendment was made from the since 1961. So whatever deals would have happened, they all will come into this scope due to the amendment. Like amendments are changes in the law. Okay.
Hmm.
So government is very well aware that where they are losing money, they don't want to lose any single penny. They hardly give quick refund. They don't do it until unless they are very sure. Then only they will issue a refund or they will tax less. So there is loophole so that people. I mean, it is not in the eye of the government that they are losing a lot of money. If that due to that they are losing a lot of money, they will plug the loophole, and it is very well legal. It comes under tax planning. It is not illegal.
So like
So there is a
our
difference
CA
between
CA students taught this, like how to do this.
yeah, not taught this, but they learn it from their principals where they work. So it is in their learning curve is that that thing is being planned by their CA in that firm. So it depends where they are working. And by reading the law, by reading the act, people start to build scenarios and then try to plan taxes. This is what usually what people do is people create private limited and the company owns everything. Their car will be in the name of the company. Everything will be used by the family member, but the petrol expenditure will be booked in the company's account. What you said that it will reduce the income. Since
Hmm.
only individuals pay taxes on gross basis, we are not allowed expenses to be reduced from our income. We are taxed on a gross basis. You can say it. We are like whatever we receive, we try to pay taxes on that 50%. What companies do, they will earn a revenue, then they will reduce their expenditure, and then whatever the net income is, then they will pay the taxes on that. So yeah, your observation is correct that rents are paid. So what happens is they will plan these kind of things like trips, company trips are there. So everything will be tried to manage in the company structure, that this is due to the business expenditure. This food bill, car. Right? So this is these are held assets. For example, the car is held as an asset in the company's books, right? And it will be depreciating over the year. If the person owns it, he won't get a depreciation. He won't get the income. Like let's compare it. Fine. So I buy a car and a company buys a car. Okay, so company will get a depreciation. Okay, 15% of depreciation the company will receive, but the individual will not receive that kind of reduction, like 15% of reduction from his income, that this is an expenditure. So this is there. This is inbuilt.
So do you need to have a proper company for to do this, or like I was talking to my uncle, and he told me that you can even do, like, some people do, what they do is they set up a YouTube channel or something, and then open the account on the name of channel and call that it's a company, and this is how I earn, and then they do this.
See, what happens is, let's talk in terms of salaried person and a business person, business professional. Okay. So what happens
Hmm,
is, business and profession, they get to reduce expenditure, but the salary person will not get to reduce that.
hmm,
Okay, so you're in terms of your YouTube will be a profession,
hmm,
business or profession. So whatever expenditure is done, whatever equipments you buy, whatever
hmm,
things you do, that is a business. Okay, business
hmm,
or profession, you will get the depreciation, and that is a valuable. I am just comparing it with the individual that who
hmm.
earns a salary class person, which is very like not more than 30-35% of people.
I think it's time to make a bank account on this channel's name. uh
Do
okay.
it, do it, do it, do it. Book your expenses there. Put your Uber bills there.
uh, Traveling charges.
Yeah,
Okay.
so put hotel expenditure. You can put everything.
Okay. There has been a recent boom in stock market after the showing scam 1992. Boom as in, like, a lot
Hmm.
of people started talking
Interest
about
was
investing.
generated.
Yeah, they
Hmm.
got interest in it. So, like,
Yeah, talking about the show, it was very well made. So if you remember the journalist, what was her name? Suchita Dalal, who
I
reported on
think
this.
it
This was
was
the
like,
time.
I haven't
Mm,
watched the show completely. I have watched only 3 episodes till now. I'll
okay,
watch it. I'll
so
watch it.
no, no, you should. You will get interested. Like, it is not about stock market, but it is basically how the fraud was,
Hmm.
how the fraud unfolded, and how it was being done. Let's not go into the scam 1992, but I will say that last year's crash in, like, what do you say, March, mid-March, the crash was
Hmm.
coming, and everywhere it was bloodbath.
Hmm.
So the people who got into that time period, like last year, whoever got, they have
Hmm.
made like 2x, 3x kind of return in lot of stocks. So there is, and I don't know what was the timeline of this scam 1992. Let me check. It's concise.
It came out last year, I think. I think it was in
I just want to make sure when it was. Okay. So this
yeah.
came in October 2020. So October 2020. So till then the market has risen. The market started to come back.
Hmm.
It was a very V-shaped recovery. Nobody was anticipating it after that fall, but the market is market. The money revolves in the market. It will be taken out of the system just to make people scared, just to see how it is going to pan out. But the market is a market which it does the things its own way. You cannot predict it. Uh, you cannot make sure that this is going to happen next. Okay. So
Like I remember this post. It said like um, when the pandemic happened, poor were buying toilet papers while rich were buying stocks.
yes, so what I said, this is what I'm saying. No, in last year March, when people were trying to hold this happened in US also, but not in
Hmm.
India.
Hmm.
So in India, people were just scared, skeptic that see the money is gone. This is what I said. In stock market always it's like a, what do you call it? It is this is a gambling. This is gambling. This is like putting your money to waste. So these kind
Hmm.
of things people were wondering how they going, but the market did rebound back and people made lot of money. The people who got, I know personally, many of not many, 10 to 15 people who made around 2x of return straight away. They did nothing, they bought Nifty stocks, some Nifty stocks, and it rebounded back and people made money out of it. So that was a once in a decade opportunity which happened in March 2020. This kind of fall happened in last 2008 financial crisis. So this was an opportunity. Like if somebody was waiting to go into the market and make money, this was the time when people should have entered and made money. So yeah, and I don't know that Scam 1992 uh, rejuvenated the interest or they were more prepared to put their money, but this was a trend which was going on in US also, like Robin Hood was there and
Hmm.
people
That whole
people
that did
were stuck.
GameStop stock.
That happened in December.
Yeah,
So
that.
that is I bought GameStop in the second time, not the first time. I was not paying attention to it, so I will talk about it. So what happened was people were stuck at home in the pandemic, so they wanted to make money. Since everything was closed, stock market was not. If you would have noticed, Monday to Friday it was running all like every week it was running. There was not a day when the market shut. So after that kind of falls also because it was halted for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, but not the market was not closed for trading. So people got interested that everyone is not working like due to lockdown, people are not earning money much. So people tried to do stocks like so then a lot of accounts opened. Zerodha was the largest retail base. I mean, in terms of investing, it has a retail base. So they opened a lot of accounts, and people started to like millennials or what do you call it? The young people started
Gen
to
Z.
try stock market. Yeah, so they opened a lot of accounts, and so this is how it worked. And I think after that 1992 happened, scam 1992, and people who like there is a curve, no first mover advantage. There is a curve with some people adopt it and then people try to do it. So by word of mouth and people were late to join the trend. So this was a trend which was happening in US and we also catched upon it, and India also uh, retail investors also participated. Yesterday I was reading an article that 45% of the market movements are made by retail investors, like 45% of the volume. So this is a very good indication. And since FIIs were 11% and DII is 9 10%, whatever. So this was yesterday I was reading this Bloomberg article. So this was
Retail
there. So this is
investors
a
are
good thing.
just in personal single guy investing.
Yes, yes, retail investor there, not big, not big investor. So this was a very good thing, which I think that retail should participate in it because if you don't start to do it, you will never understand it. Like it took me around 5 years. I've been doing like not 5 years. My first mutual fund recommendation to my mom was in 2008 when I was in eighth class. So that was a financial time crisis. Like and I used to watch a lot of news. So I was seeing sentences falling down, this and that. So at that time, we invested. I convinced my mother to put some money in mutual funds. So we made around 5x return was there. So in 2 years, it was not immediately, but in 2 to 3 years, 2011 or 10, we withdrawn that money. So that was the my first thing which I did. So in terms of investing, so after that, I got to know that this is a thing which is real. Like it helps people. It is gambling. I agree. If you don't do like what is gambling, people don't know and they still try to bet on it. That is gambling. Like let's see what happens. What if I get it? So if you know that how the things work, then you will be able to figure it out. If you have your risk, what do you call it? Risk measures there. You don't want to put that money which you cannot lose. Like you need to have a pool of money which you say that this is the money. If I lose every penny of it, I won't worry about it. For example, say 10,000 rupees, I lose every bit of it, I will not bother. So you should put that kind of money in stock market at first, and then try to build on it. This is my experience, what I have learned.
One more tip my uncle gave me for stock market was that when you are in stock market, avoid emotions. Don't act on your emotions.
Definitely, definitely. So emotions like bias, this is personal bias, right? This is my what happens is when Enron happened, Enron was a very big fraud which happened, and which it was a very big fraud. It
Mm,
happened in the US. So what happened was the emotional investors were left out, like the employees were the most to lose. They were emotional about their company. They bought their company. You should not get emotional about it. You should be like you should be brutal. You should not be lax about it, right? You should not take it lightly because when once you start going into red, to recover that kind of money, you will have to earn double of it so that you earn money. Or what you will end up doing is you will just compensate your principal only.
mm,
For example, you put in 100 rupees, you went to 110, and you didn't book your profit till like you didn't book your profit. You were holding on to it, and it fell. It fell by 20%. So it came back to around it. For example, it came to 80. So now what you're doing, you have lost the 10 profit also, and you have lost the 10 principal also. So
mm,
net, you now what you will have to do, you will have to do 40% more so that you go back to that level.
mm.
Okay.
But
So
like
what
if
happens is
you look,
you need to protect your principal.
mm, but like just like you said that you also lose and like lose up that 10 profit you earned. But like it's kind of a false profit because you didn't really realize it. If
That's
you,
what I'm telling you. You should be brutal about it that now I need to book the profit. I need not to be like when the stock starts to fall, you say that now it will come back, it will come back. What happens with people is it will go back, it will go back. It is not going to go back because it will. The first thing about retail investors is they put money. How somebody else told a company's name, they will put money. They will try. They don't. They will not read about it. They will because this stock market is a serious thing.
mm,
Nobody is going to give their money to you, right?
mm,
Everybody is going to keep their money to themselves only, and and to try to take your money. So first, you need to retail investors need to study what they are buying into. Okay, they need to put stop losses. Like if that thing doesn't work out, they need to see that I don't lose up more than 5% of my principal or 10% of my principal. It should not happen that somebody put money in Tata Motors and Tata Motors crash to 50%, because it won't happen. Like 50% will not come straight away, right? You will keep on losing 5% every day, 5, 10, 15, whatever percent you will see what the fall is there, right? Until unless something wrong happens, there will be lower circuit, like extreme down, but usually you will see the fall. You will see it coming. So you need to be prepared that this thing didn't work because there are 10,000 stocks, 5,000 stocks to put money in. Why will you be emotional about one stock, right?
Hmm.
One trade didn't work out, go to other. Just
Hmm.
try different things. Just be aware that you should not. If you lose your principal, then it is very hard to make it to 100% and then uh, uh, book profit. So if you are profitable, you should like if you don't know something very good about it, that this thing is going to blast or this thing is going to double into this, you should be aware that you should be vigilant that you should not lose money in that stuff.
So, like,
Stop losses
how
on
do
that.
you decide which stock you should buy or which you shouldn't?
Uh, about me is that I do lot of reading. I do lot of reading. I do fundamental analysis, which consists of reading the books of accounts of that company, reading through the annual reports and whatever the management is saying, how they are behaving in terms of in the conference calls, which is there. Usually, what happens is I'm talking about retail investor. What retail investor does is he does not spend money on any premium uh, news service. Okay. What happens is he is the last person to receive the information.
Hmm.
What happens is people who have premium subscriptions, premium news reporting, like premium reports, they will get to know that thing earlier. Until unless it is a public information which is made to the public. But if there is a research going on or some fundamental analysis is going on, the retail investor will get to know at the last when he receives his newspaper
Hmm.
or the CNBC news channel. He gets to hear it. What happens is he is the last one to do it in terms of knowing the company that this is a good going company and you need to put money. What happens is he is the last one and he ends up buying the buying at the last and he buys at a very expensive rate. What happens is the people who have early the FIIs, the DIIs and the HNIs and people who are aware of the stocks and how the stock is moving, the people will start buying earlier on only. Okay. So what happens is retail investor comes at the last one. I'm talking about majority of them because majority of retail investors lose money. So first you need to have a premium. You need to read. You need to put money where you are going to make money, right? You should. If somebody, I will tell you about a magazine, Money Life, that is run by Suchita Dalal only, the person who uncovered scam 1992, Harshad
Hmm.
Mehta scam. It is her magazine, and Debashish Basu is also there. Both are they work together there, and I have subscribed to their magazine, and I will tell you that they give you a lot of insight into the companies they analyze, and they give you insights how to how to invest in stocks also. So first, you need to put money into good reading items. Like until unless you read, until unless you pay for it, you won't get a good thing. It will be the last thing which comes out in the newspaper. When everybody has read it, you will be the last person to get it for free.
So
So
it
this
is
is
like
my suggestion that
early bird gets the warm thing.
yeah, because the lower price you bought and the higher you get the profit. So that is the thing. I suggest that people should invest into these kind of new services like Bloomberg Coin, Money Life, and other paid news like uh, what do you call it, paid magazines, so that they have a premium information like which is not available to everyone.
So, like,
You're getting me?
just yeah, like, can you just name a few which you read? Like you said, Bloomberg, Money Life, and like what else?
Bloomberg Money Life, Financial, FT.com, ET. You don't need to read a lot of them because this is what happens is the same thing is going on in that circle only.
Hmm.
So if you start to read one of them, you just religiously follow it and you test them that if what is their advice is good or not. So you just read it and then you decide that yes, these guys are doing good stuff. I should carry on with them. For me, Money Life has been with me for 3 years now. Okay. So every year I renew it straight away because whatever I am paying is I am getting multi-bagger returns out of those readings and the insights which I get. Multi-bagger return, like I don't get to lose money. Okay, what happens is I will tell you. One peculiar thing about stock market is they will know everything before everyone. Okay, March was the fall, and when was the worst pandemic hit? When we had the lockdown after that one. Okay,
Hmm.
stock market had fallen. They anticipated it. They knew it. These guys know everything. They will know things. Like for example, people are wondering why the market is not falling. It is not falling because they will not. What is stock? Stocks is an index. What if you see Nifty? Nifty is a index of 50 stocks, and
Hmm.
every stock has their like weight. Okay, so Reliance whenever Reliance moves for 1 rupee, one Nifty moves, 1 pointer Nifty moves. So if Reliance move by 20 rupees, the Nifty will move by 20 points. Okay,
Hmm.
50 stocks are there. This is an index. So what happens is this can be very well managed. You get it? It is not that something bad happened and the Nifty will fall straight away. No, people don't want to lose their money and they will not have the fall very easily. Stock market right now is very high. It is at 14,700, 600 level, and 15,000 was 15,300 was the high. So at this kind of pandemic time, stock markets are booming. People are not letting uh, the stocks go down. Okay, so it is not a very it does not have a very correct correlation with what happens in the world. What the economy, the GDP in India has been doing bad for at least 3 years, but the stock market is still doing very well. So it is not very, what do you call it? The correlation is not one on one. There is a bit because the companies who earn money add to the GDP also, but the fact is there is a not a perfect correlation. Is not. Yeah.
Okay, so moving to next question. Which one is
Wait,
better?
wait, wait. I will tell you one more example.
Hmm.
Uh, Yes Bank was falling very badly.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, I think it went to negative or something. People went
No, not negative.
paranoid.
Not negative, not negative. But the
But
fact is, Yes Bank was going bankrupt. Everybody knew in the stock
hmm,
market. Everybody, like people were not putting their money in, right?
hmm,
But the retail depositor was not withdrawing his money. It was out in the news that Yes Bank may default. Yes Bank is in very bad shape. Yes Bank has so much of that, like NPAs, and it they were not able to raise money, and nobody was giving them money. What ended up happening is SBI is the 49% stakeholder in Yes Bank. Now it is a subsidiary of SBI, sort of. Okay, so what happened when the bank froze the account? Everybody started to panic. But this thing was in the market for at least 1 year. People should be aware of what is happening with their banks, what is happening with their NBFCs, where they put their money in. Okay, so people should not be very relaxed that I have put my money in the bank and the bank will not do nothing wrong. They will do everything wrong, which they can do. You need to protect your money. So if somebody who was reading these news would have withdrawn his 80%, whatever money he would have withdrawn from Yes Bank, he would not have stuck there. That the bank might collapse and RBI rescued that. So people should be aware what is happening with their stocks, what is wrong in this coming, what is the negative news there. So people should be aware from their, not directly from the stock point of view, but from their to protect their savings also.
okay. So like you talked about a company putting out their earning and other stuff. So like, where can I go to read that? Is it like published in magazines, or like is it on their site or something?
Yeah, it is. See, the best thing about stock markets is everything is available to everyone. You just go to NSE.com, National Stock Exchange website. You go to results, you will find everything. Money control is there. Lot of information providing websites are there. It is there. So you go to NSC.com, you go to money control, you go to uh, ticker tape, I guess it is from Zerodha. So there is lot of information is there. People just need to read it. It is out there. There is a good website which compares stock. Screener, screener.in is there, and one website is being made by my friend. So its name is Finex, FINAKES.com. It is in a currently in a development phase, and it is still hosted, but it is not fully open to the public right now. So we will try to make good contribution to people's awareness, like how the stock works, and it will be there. So yeah, you should. Bloomberg is there. Bloomberg Coins, I told you. Bloomberg Coins, NFT.com. NFT, you can go to. BSC is also there. And ET now. What else?
There's
Mm,
a Mint
you
too.
should.
Like I use Mint and Economic Times.
Yeah. Business Standard, ET. There are lot of business newspapers are there. Everyone will publish it. Everyone. But people should be aware that they should go through it, or else you watch the CNBC TV. They usually are good with analysis.
Okay.
So,
So like which
not the
one?
Hindi one, not the Hindi one.
English one.
Yeah, because
CNBC.
the standard of reporting is also very high, and the analysis will be good. You would have heard about this guy Hemant Ghai. What he used to do was he used to provide calls to retail investors from his TV show, and he used to buy those stocks earlier on from his wife's account and his mother's account, and he used to fool people. So SEBI caught him, and he was fined for around a huge amount, and he was thrown out of that channel. So the ethics are very low in India, like right in everything. We like to have, we like to offer bribe, we like to have bribe. It is like
Hmm.
it is very prevalent. It is not, there is nothing wrong about it. So we need to we need to be watchful that what is happening. So
Hmm.
just watch good news channels. Avoid Hindi ones. They're rate. I mean, you won't learn many things from it, because what they will do is they will try to suggest you stocks and try to convince you that you will make the money in quick time.
Hmm.
But that is not the thing. So that is what happens. Like retail investors get demoralized at most of the time when they put their money in stocks. People lose their. So don't get into the. I mean, usually until unless the news is very good, don't put your money from the what happens in front of your TV screen, because usually people will know you before you know. So that is the,
Yeah, like
yeah.
quick money is a myth.
It is not a myth, but you need to learn. You can make money in stock market. People make huge money in stock options and future options. So it is there, but you need to have your risk parameters. You need to be watchful. You can't. This is not something very easy. Like you need to be very watchful. You need to be very vigilant if you go into that kind of stuff, because you will lose money very quickly. You get that kind of money, but you will lose everything.
Mhm. So like which one is better, fiat currency or cryptocurrency? Like cryptocurrency is like booming these days.
Yeah, it has been for around 10 years now. I guess Bitcoin
Yeah,
10
like
to 12 years.
it has been for long, but I remember two phases. The last time it was the hotspot of attention was, I think it was in 2012 or 14 when the Bitcoin went to about 10 lakhs rupees. On Bitcoin was around 10 lakh rupees or something. It was around that point,
I know
and
I know a friend who put money in Bitcoin when it went to 17 lakhs. Rupees. So let's not discuss the rupee term. Usually, you should refer it in
Yeah,
dollar terms.
US.
It is a very standardized thing, right?
But
So
I just remember that example. I gave rupee example because I remember the rupee one. But right now,
yeah, yeah.
even I talk about in dollars. Like a friend of mine invested in it when it was around 49 US dollar. Like he did it recently, and he was like,
49
I
US
have
dollar.
when it was 49,000 US dollar, it was at that price. So it's like I'm just putting a small amount of money, and I'll just let it be. I will not really care about it. I don't care if I lose it, but I'll just put it.
Mm-hmm. Get it. Yeah.
So
So
like, which one
let's
is
talk
better?
about how it is. Fiat fiat currency is we accept fiat currency because it is backed by the government.
Hmm,
If you that thing was also thrown out of the picture when demonetization happened. If you
hmm,
what does the currency say? The bearer will be paid that much of amount,
hmm,
right?
hmm,
So what happens if I have a 1,000 rupee note in my pocket right now? So they will the RBI will they pay me or what not? So
hmm,
demonetization was an eye opener that government can disown their money anytime,
hmm,
right? What happens if you had something kept somewhere else and, for example, it was kept somewhere, I mean, it was some old person forget about it
hmm,
and the deadline passes on and he lost his money. So
hmm,
if same thing happened with the Bitcoin also. I heard I heard about a person who mined Bitcoins in 2010 or 8 and the computer started to heat up a lot. So his girlfriend got scared and they threw away the Bitcoin where the Bitcoin address was there on the hard disk. She threw it away and they threw it away the hard disk also and the computer also. And the amount of Bitcoin which was there, it was worth around what do you call 5 million or 10 million Bitcoin was thrown away like that. So this can
she must
happen
be
with
regretting it right now.
yeah, there's a lot of people who used to buy pizza from Bitcoin in 2010.
Hmm,
Nobody knew how it will pan out, right? So since it was a new technology, as it happens with new technology, people are skeptical. So in terms of Bitcoin also, there has to be some regulation, like just to make people believe that it is safe, it will
hmm,
not lose money in quick succession. Like it was last year when I used to post about Bitcoins in my Instagram page that Bitcoin is making a comeback. And I was expecting like a friend of mine had Bitcoin from very like 2017 when there was a hype about it. He bought it. He was stuck in Bitcoin for at least 3 years. So he used to call me regularly that what should I do? And in 2020 Bitcoin started to make a comeback. I said wait for it, wait for another 25% gain, wait for another. Once he recovered all his money, he waited for around 25,000 level and he went out of it because he was skeptical that finally I got my money and I earned something. I need to leave. In terms of making transactions, most of the bitcoins is now held by the big institutions only,
hmm.
right? So it is not very much available to public. It is very expensive. Also, Bitcoin is very now after $25,000, it went to $33,000, and the next day it went to 50, and
Hmm.
the rise was meteoric, right? It was like nobody. If I would have known that this could have gone to 50,000 level, I would not have told my friend that he should take out his money. It is a very volatile thing. People can have it as a asset, but like people should not put all its money there, right? So that there is some risk hedge. What happened in 2017 that after Bitcoin was very rose up very high and it was pulled down very badly by the institute. So Bitcoin prices fell very badly and it lagged for around 3 years, 3 to 4 years. That thing should not happen.
Okay, so like recently, government said that it would try and ban private cryptocurrencies, and do you think government can actually ban it? And if they can, like, what would be the
They
impact?
people see the impact is like people will not be able to cash out their money. People will need to answer to the income tax officials. The government can do lot of things. It is the thing that they are just trying to learn how to. In India, it has not been accepted very well. But if it is like India is missing out on a lot of crypto money, right? But still, what do you call? Government can do lot of damage to you. Like they will. I know a friend who told me about a friend who used to mine Bitcoin in 2014 or 2015, 2016, 2020. And there was a government crackdown. The police came to his place and took away all the computers and he was jailed. If these kind of things happen, people are skeptical. What will happen, right? So if you can move out of India, go to Dubai, you are very well sorted about these kind of things. If in India, you can. I told you about the Vodafone judgment, right?
Hmm.
The Vodafone won the case in Supreme Court, and there is no other court to go, right? Supreme Court is the final one. They won the case, and what government did? The government amended the law retrospectively. Retrospectively means from past.
Hmm.
So they
So
made sure they claim their right on that gain. So government can do lot of damage. People should be skeptical. People should plan their investments. Like if they can route it to something else, I think they should do that.
is it a good move to try and ban cryptocurrency?
I don't know because in India, people you know about the financial literacy what is there, but for general people, it is not good to the general people because it is very volatile. People cannot regular people cannot handle the movements of Bitcoin. Right?
Hmm.
If somebody is willing to take a loss of 10 lakh rupees easily, then people should think about it. Like it doesn't matter to that person. If he has that kind of risk appetite, he should go there and wait. But I mean, regular people should not because in India the people who should put their money first in the risk-free assets, then stocks, and then finally cryptocurrency. I mean, it should be a linear process. Like it should be, you should take little risk every time. You should not put all your money straight away into cryptocurrency. This is my point of view. And if somebody understands it very well, he has read it about it very well, followed it very well, then he should do it. I solely base this opinion on the basis that the person does not know much about the cryptocurrency.
So most of the cryptocurrencies are very volatile at this moment. Like you can see
Hmm.
Bitcoin going to 49 in one day and at 46K US dollar in the next day. So do you think it will
This is coming from $60,000, right? The fall is from there.
yeah, the fall, and
Yeah.
it is the rate of conversion changes every day, and it's
It doesn't matter. The currency risk is not much because it is less, but the major risk comes from the volatility of Bitcoin.
so do you think it can be stable in future and can be used as normal currency?
I don't think Bitcoin will be used as normal currency like you and I to transact
Hmm.
because it is very noble. It is now mostly owned by the institutions only. This is good for the institution that who tries to make a multinational transactions like putting money from this country to that country. That can be
Hmm.
done very easily. So that is a good thing. It saves a lot of inefficient. I mean, it saves on a lot of inefficiencies which are there in the system. So that is a good thing. But in terms of investment, retail investors should be very skeptical about it, and he should put that money which he loses, he doesn't mind. Like he should not mind that I lost it money. He should think that I have thrown that money away. It should be treated that way because if if people would have invested in Bitcoin in past 5 years or past 8 years, 5 years, 7 years, it would have been good. Now at this level, this is very the rate of
Uh,
fall is very.
so like as a beginner, what kind of investment you should make? Like stocks, mutual funds, crypto. Like you just denied that you should not invest in crypto if you're a beginner, but like what are the other options?
So I would say not even mutual fund, not even stocks, not even cryptocurrency. First, from my point of view, people should use their PPF until
Provident fund.
unless you, yes, PPF. Everybody can go into SBI or somewhere else. They can open their PPF account. First, try to see how the magic of compounding. You should see when the credit interest is there, you will try to see yes, money is easily made. First, you should put it in your habit that this is my the whole lot of money. Like for example, you have 5 lakh money. You should invest your money in the whatever the limit is there, 1.5 lakh. Top up the PPF. Then you take your insurance because insurance is important. Medical insurance in these times of the medical
Hmm.
insurance is important. Health, what do you call it? Life insurance is important. So after that, these instruments, and then you go for mutual funds, ULIP, and not even I. If I say somebody is very like wants to put themselves into stocks, they should start to own big Nifty names. First go for Nifty, then go for from large cap, go from blue chip, large cap, mid cap, then go into penny stocks. Never try to put money into 5 rupees stock, 10 rupees stock, and 20 rupees stock. Never try to do that. Never. At a beginner level, you should never try to do it. However emotional you are about that company, never do it. Because what happens is people lose money very easily there. Lot of cases pump and dump happen and people lose out money. So you should first put your money into HDFC Bank, Motor Corp, what do you call it, L&T, not L&T, Reliance.
Reliance, MRF.
You should try to put money in those stocks whose products you are using regularly.
Hmm.
Britannia, you eat biscuits all day. Whenever you're having, you should try to look at things like what company is making this, how this company has come into my home, like how well it is sustaining, how well it is performing. So you
Hmm.
from this is bottom up approach, like you are seeing on the ground. Okay, you get for example, if you see boat, if you have been seeing boat price, if if the stock is there for boat, you will put your money in boat. Like they have grown very rapidly. There is money to invest. Boat is a good example of an Indian company which made it big in a very good time. So you can try to observe things around you. What bike you are driving, how it is performing, how what things you are eating. You should be very aware of it. What batteries you are using,
Hmm.
what lap. I mean, majorly the technology companies are not in India, but that is also a thing that you can invest. US stocks are also available on website. So yeah.
Okay, so like if you are aiming to be rich, which should you prefer, like a really high paying job or business?
This depends on the person's personality. Like if somebody is very, very like, it depends on the person. I cannot straight away say like this. If there is a very good book from the person who wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Hmm.
He
Robert
is
Kiyosaki.
so there is one more book he wrote is about cash flow quadrant, 4 quadrants of cash flow. Like,
Hmm.
so one is job, one is business, one is investment, I mean that you should go through that book very. It is a very well written book, and it will give you a very good perspective. Cash flow quadrant. I think that is the name.
To be honest, I think that like if you want to be rich, you should
Yeah, it is. It is. It
prefer
is Rich
business.
Dad Cash Flow Quadrant. No, the book's name is Rich Dad Poor Dad Cash Flow Quadrant.
Hmm.
Okay, so you should you should read about it. First, you need to have that capital
Hmm.
to start a business or to go about a business. You need to have some capital until unless
Hmm.
you are a startup who is very well funded by investors,
Hmm.
and it is a very good idea. So that is the thing, and it depends on the person how if he wants to do it.
Hmm. It's
Because
not easy to do
if
business.
it is not easy, but if somebody can do it, he should do it,
Hmm.
or he wants to, he should do it. But the fact is, if there is regular income, you should channelize that income to your saving, your to create asset, not to create expenditure, not to go about spending money here and there.
Hmm.
So it depends, like what is the perspective of being rich? What is rich? What is the like having 1 crore in the bank account is rich, 2 crore is rich, 10 crore is what is rich?
Hmm.
So this is subjective, and in terms of like how do you call it? Depends on the person straight away. If somebody has a very good idea, he should go for it. He might try it. He can do it. But if it's not there, people should be disciplined, and like out of 100 startups, 95 and 98 fail, right? So you should be prepared for it. And it depends on the person straight away, I would say.
So, like you just said about capital in business, and like a lot of youngsters these days are interested in startups. So, what should be the ideal way for the investment they should look? Like, let's suppose that they do have capital at of their own, but still, like there's investors, there's crowdfunding. Which one is a better option?
Uh, See, I think when the investor wants to invest their money, they ask that have you put your money into it or not to get the things going, what to make the things work, to get funding. I think people need to know that what you have done. So
Hmm.
if somebody has their capital, they should put some amount of capital to make the things going, and not stand still that when the money comes out from the investors, then only the things will work out. And people should try anything like to make it work. People should try left, right, and center. How it can be. Crowdfunding is a thing which if the product is good, people will fund it. So that's the thing.
Okay, so I'm out of the questions I wanted to ask, and I think this is the end of end of the episode. And your really thanks to for taking out your time to be in this episode.
It was pleasure, Vaibhav. It was pleasure. Thank
People
you.
using my real name is kind of weird though, but I am at peace with it. So thank you.
Thank you, Sariel. Bye bye.